You just made an offer on a home and now you've changed your mind. Maybe you got cold feet, maybe you found something else you like better, whatever the reason you want out. The question is, can you cancel your real estate offer? After years working as a realtor and now as a real estate lawyer, I'm going to show you exactly what you can and cannot do when it comes to your offer. And if you're buying a home in Ontario, you need to understand this before you sign anything. My name is Soccio-Marandola. I'm a real estate lawyer here in Toronto, and I help people like you close real estate deals every single day. And if you enjoy this type of content, make sure you subscribe and join our community. And if you have a closing coming up, we've built the most transparent legal fee calculator online. It gives you a full breakdown of every dollar you'll spend and even calculates closing costs like land transfer tax and title insurance. That's linked in the description down below. Most buyers think that they can cancel their offer, well, because they're the one who made it. It's their offer. They wrote it, they signed it, they sent it over. So surely they can take it back when they change their mind. Now that's the assumption, and it's wrong. The moment your offer is signed and delivered to the seller, you don't control it anymore. The clock is running, and there's a specific clause in the contract that dictates this. Let's talk about the Irrevocability Clause. Now, if you're buying a home in Ontario, your offer is almost certainly written on the OREA Agreement of Purchase and Sale. OREA stands for Ontario Real Estate Association, and it's the standard form that realtors use to write residential offers across the province. Now, right on the first page, clause number 1 is titled Irrevocability. Now, here's what it says. This offer shall be irrevocable by the buyer or seller until time and date, after which time, if not accepted, this offer shall be null and void, and the deposit shall be returned to the buyer in full without interest. So what does that mean in plain English? Well, it means that when you submit an offer, you're agreeing or making a promise to keep it open and live without changes, without withdrawal, until the irrevocable deadline that you chose. That window is a legal commitment. Now, the irrevocable period is something that your realtor will fill in when writing the offer. Sometimes it's a few hours, sometimes it's a few days, and there's no set requirement. It's completely within your control as the one making the offer to choose that time period. Though it is good practice to check with the seller to understand how much time they'll need to properly consider the offer. Now, I want to tell you about a call that I got last week. So a buyer reached out, not a client, just someone who had found my number, and they had submitted an offer on a property on what was a Thursday. Now, they made their offer irrevocable until Sunday night. It was a multi-day window. Apparently, this was done because the sellers weren't local and the listing agent asked for multiple days in order to reach them and go over the offer. So on Friday, and this is when they called me, these buyers came across another house that they loved. They wanted to put in an offer on that one instead. So they called and asked me, how do I cancel my first offer? Now, I had to walk them through the Irrevocability Clause. Because their offer was irrevocable until Sunday night, they could not withdraw it. That offer was live, and the seller could accept it at any point until that deadline. And if they did, it's a binding contract that would be formed. So, what happens if they were to make that second offer anyways? Well, without the ability to cancel their first offer, there is a risk both the first and second sellers accept the offers. Now, as buyers, these people are in a position where they agreed to buy two different properties and thus be on the hook for deposits and closing for both homes. These buyers had no idea that this is how it worked. They thought submitting the offer was just an opening move and that they always held the ability to revoke it. Now, that leads me to believe that these offers are not always being properly explained to the general public before being submitted. Some of you might be thinking, wait, if I'm the one making the offer and the seller hasn't promised anything to me yet, how is that promise to keep it open for consideration for that time period legally binding on me? Now, that's a real argument in contract law, and it's worth understanding. So in contract law theory, a promise is only enforceable if there's consideration, meaning both sides have to give something up. So if I promise to give you $100 tomorrow and I don't, you can't sue me for breach of contract. But if I promise to give you $100 in exchange for your bike, now both sides have made a promise, there's consideration, and that contract is enforceable. So here's the issue with the Irrevocability Clause. When a buyer submits an offer, they're promising to keep it open, but the seller hasn't promised anything back yet, which means technically that promise of irrevocability lacks consideration. Now, that argument has actually been raised in courts, but here's why it doesn't work with the OREA Agreement of Purchase and Sale. If you go down to page 5 of the agreement, you'll notice small black circles with the word seal written underneath them. Those are signature seals. Now, signing under seal is a concept that goes back centuries in English law. And what it means today is this. When you sign a document under seal, you're declaring that your promise within that offer is legally binding, regardless of whether consideration exists. The seal substitutes for consideration. So because the OREA APS is signed under seal, the irrevocable clause is enforceable. even though the seller hasn't promised you anything yet. Your promise to keep that offer open is a real legal obligation. That's why the argument doesn't hold, and that's why you can't walk away. So here's what I want you to walk away with. The irrevocable period is not a formality. It's not something to skip over because your realtor already filled it in. It's an important part of the offer and it's completely within your control. So before you sign, ask yourself, how long do I actually want to give the seller to accept this? Because that window is yours to set. So it can be a few hours, a full day, multiple days. There's no rule, but there are consequences to each choice. A short irrevocable period creates pressure. Tells the seller, make a decision now or this offer is gone. In a competitive situation, that can work in your favor. A longer window gives the seller more time, which might be necessary if they're out of town or need to consult someone, but it also means you're locked in longer. And as you've seen, a lot can change in a day or two. So every time you're making an offer, pay attention to that clause. Don't just accept whatever date and time is written in there. Think about your situation, think about your strategy, and set it deliberately. And now you have the answer to one of the most common questions I get. You cannot cancel or withdraw your offer during the irrevocable period. And now you know exactly why. If you're enjoying these behind the scenes real estate law videos, make sure you subscribe to the channel. I post a new video every week. And if you're a realtor, I also send a weekly update about different legal situations that come up in our closing. That's our realtor newsletter, and you can subscribe to it with the link down in the description. Thanks for watching.